Malditos Nerds, estamos con Ron Carmel, uno de los cofundadores de fundación que se dedica a ayudar a los pequeños desarrolladores que están en el mundo de los videojuegos a lanzar sus proyectos. Va a estar también en Tecnópolis dando una charla sobre su aproximación a la industria y tenemos la oportunidad de entrevistarlo aquí. Hi Ron, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Welcome to Argentina. I hope you enjoy your visit here.
I'm sure I will.
What can you tell us about the talk you're going to give in Technopolis?
The talk is going to be about sustainable ways to make a living making games. I know that a lot of people, when they approach making games, there's lack of knowledge around how to make them, how to earn money making them, and also lack of knowledge around where different approaches lead. For example, a lot of people try to make a game that has the broadest appeal possible, and that I personally don't believe is a good way to approach making a game and to approach deciding how to make a game. So I'm going to talk about an approach that I advocate specifically that involves around making a game that you feel connected to and that you love and that have a personal meaning to you, and other things related to it, so that to help people actually earn enough money to sustain that effort.
Do you know something about the Argentinian industry of gaming?
Probably like everyone else, I know Daniel Benmergui. I've talked to him a lot about it. I tried to ask him what are the problems that he thinks the local game development community is facing, and I tried to adjust my talk to fit and to answer some of those questions, maybe to bring a different perspective to thinking about those problems.
Can you tell us the origins of IndieFund?
So IndieFund started, I think, there was a conversation at GDC in 2009, I think, maybe 2010. I think it was 2009. We had a group of about 50 independent developers that were just kind of talking about this and that and the other. And one of the topics was sources of funding, like how do people get funding for their games. And Aaron Isaacson, who is one of the partners in IndieFund, at some point said, why aren't we funding each other? And that started a conversation between me and him and Jonathan Blow about IndieFund, which didn't have a name yet at the time, but we started talking about it and eventually tried to figure out what the next step is if we want to try to do something like this. And we got a group of people to fund one game before IndieFund started as an experiment to see maybe we're crazy, it doesn't work. But that worked out okay. We learned a lot and we decided to make IndieFund, and that's the story.
Monaco and Antichamber are two great games. Are you happy with the results of the games that IndieFund have helped to come out?
Absolutely. This is actually one of the things we discuss a lot internally. Our goal, as we say, is to help developers get and stay independent. And we asked ourselves, what does it mean? Like, how do we decide if a project is successful? We can't decide if it was successful based on how much money we made from it, because that's not our primary goal. I mean, we don't want to lose money, but if a game makes a lot of money and we make some money, but the developer then is miserable and don't want to work in games ever again, then we consider that a failure. So our criteria is if a game makes enough money so that the developer can fund at least one more game from the income from the game that we funded, then it's successful. And Monaco and Antichamber definitely made that. I think all but two of the games that we funded have met that criteria, so we're very happy with them.
Have you thought about internationalizing IndieFund?
It is international. I mean, all of the partners except for Nathan Vella are in the U.S., but the games that we fund are not all U.S.-based. There are, let's see, Dear Esther is in the UK, The Swapper is in, I don't remember, it's in Norway or Sweden? It's Northern Europe. There are a bunch of games all over the place that...
Okay, thank you. What can you tell us about your working about after the big success that was World of Goo?
After World of Goo, I think the first successful thing I did was IndieFund. Other than that, I worked on so far 14 prototypes that I threw away. But about last summer, so about a year and a little bit, I found one prototype that I got excited about and started working on with Noel Llopis, another developer. And we're not quite ready to announce it, but an announcement will probably come next month.
Well, next month we have to wait until that. I have to tell you that World of Goo was the first game that I downloaded from my Nintendo Wii, and I love it. It was difficult, but I love it. All the process from the beginning to the end. I think it's really great. Here in Argentina, we have great developers, but they tend to be afraid of working outside the system. Can you tell them some advice? What would be the advice that you have to them?
Can you clarify what you mean working outside the system?
To working in an independent way, outside the biggest developers.
I see. Well, I'm going to talk a lot about that during my talk, so I definitely recommend that if anybody's interested in this question, to come listen to the talk. And Nicolas Cohen, the organizer, told me that the talk will also be available free online to everybody. So you don't even have to come; you can just watch it on the internet. But in general, I think a lot of it has to do with personality. I want to just tell a quick anecdote. When I worked at Electronic Arts before I quit to make World of Goo with Kyle. And when I decided to quit, a colleague of mine came to me and he said, I really admire what you're doing. It's very brave to quit your job and go do something that is uncertain, and maybe you won't make any money and you'll spend all your savings. And I can imagine that's very scary, and you must be very brave. And that was very strange for me, because to me, having a 9-to-5 job and working a 9-to-5 job until I'm 65, that's scary to me. And pursuing my passion is something that's not scary, that's what I want to do. So I think it just depends on the personality type. Some people have that drive, and to those people I would say, yeah, take a risk. Do it, and talk to other people and figure out how to do these things. Definitely talk to people who have done it before and learn from their mistakes. And the people who are not comfortable with it, that's okay. Everybody lives different lives,
It's a great advice. To finish the interview, we have a radio program in which we have a contest called The Game of Your Life. People have to choose just one game that changed them as a gamer. What would be the game of your life?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I can't pick just one, so I'm going to pick one from this year. That game is Save the Date. It's a free game that I think does something in video game narrative that no other game has done before. It's free. I highly recommend everybody download it and try it. I laughed, and I had such a great time, and I was so inspired when I played that game.
And if I give you the option to say 3 more games of all your history as a gamer?
Then Castle Wolfenstein 3D. That just completely blew my mind. The first time I'd seen a 3D game, and I played that for, I can't even tell you how long. And before that, I think I had a Commodore 64 when I was a kid, and Impossible Mission was that's probably the one game that got me really passionate about. I need to learn how to make games. I need to figure this out, and that's what I want to do.
Okay, many thanks, and we'll see you on Technopolis.
Yes, thank you very much.
Gente, estuvimos hablando con Ron, que va a estar dando su charla también en Technopolis, y nos contó un poco de World of Goo, que como ya dije, en mi opinión es uno de los mejores juegos descargables de Nintendo Wii, y también sobre IndieFound, que ayuda a muchísimos desarrolladores independientes a poder lanzar finalmente sus productos. Vamos a seguir entrevistando gente. El único que nos falta es nada más y nada menos que Tim Schafer. Muchísimas gracias.